I am a child of the 60s. And I remember a new vocabulary word I used, or I heard when I was in the 60s. It's the word funk and funky. Are you familiar with these words? Well, I thought I'd do a little sleuthing and figure out where it came from. Actually, it has its root in Latin, fumigare, which means smoky. And it came to us through the Old French, fungiere, which means musty and earthy. And it came into English and it became funk or funky. And we all know what it means, doesn't it? It's to be depressed or in a bad mood. He's in the funk, right? Now, music glorifies the blues, doesn't it? Yeah, there's not much hope in heaven above, so we sing about our funk. I find it interesting that entertainers like Elvis and Sly of the Family Stones, you may remember them, right? They all started singing gospel. That's where they started. Yeah. And then we all know their druggy ends and what have you. You know, they could not get out of their funk. Now, whatever we may think about the music, and I'm not being judgmental here about the music at all, it's certainly this, that the message of this music is contrary to Easter joy. And this is my hammer for us today. Get out of your funk. Okay? Get out of your funk. Now, let's start with Thomas. Thomas was in a major funk, okay? And we see Thomas 3 times in this gospel. And all the figures in John are very important symbolically, okay? And the first time we see him is in chapter 11 when Jesus tells the disciples, okay, we're going to go up and see Lazarus. But to go to see Lazarus means you have to come near Jerusalem. And Jerusalem is where Jesus' enemies were. And everybody knew that they wanted to kill him. And so do you know what Thomas says? All right, let us go up with him and die. Doesn't it sound like Eeyore? Funk, right? And then when Jesus was trying to teach him in the upper room, and the disciples were getting it a bit, you know. And Jesus says, you know where I'm going. And what does he say? Lord, I don't know where you're going. In other words, I am lost. And then, of course, we see him here, right? Now, Thomas represents something. I think he's juxtaposed in this chapter with Mary Magdalene, who on the first day of the week in a garden, on the 8th day of a whole new world, is the old Eve who has found Christ, found Jesus. And I think Thomas represents all of us. He's the old Adam. He just refuses to believe. Now, where was he when the other disciples were there? Huh? Was he out getting pizza? Maybe he was in a blues bar. I don't know where he was. But he wasn't in a good place. We know that, right? And so, Jesus enters. And what happens? The old Adam, all of a sudden, comes to light. And the gospel crescendos to this high point. My Lord and my God. He snaps out of his funk and he becomes a new man of the 8th day. Now, in Acts 2, we have Pentecost. And the Spirit, the Ruach Elohim, is the breath of God, which Jesus breathed first into his apostles, falls upon the church. And how did they respond? Fear, the mysterium tremendum, the joy and the terror of God was their dominant experience. In other words, they were excited. I mean, they couldn't get enough of God, and they couldn't get enough of each other. And so they became communal. A whole new culture was created. A culture of faith, generosity, joy of being united with the eternal. And so now, for the first time, we've got two cultures in parallel. We have this lower culture, the funky culture, that which is close to the earth, that which is smoky, right? And you've got this whole new culture up here, where people are living on a level that they never could ever hope to ever exist on. One sings the blues, and the other sings praises of joy to God. Now, 1 Peter, this reading is amazing. When you think about it, it has everything. Okay? It has everything. Because it tells us what this new culture is. It's a culture of faith, a culture of hope, and a culture of love. Even in the midst of trials. Trials hit everyone. But look how the two cultures respond to it. Very differently. One sings the blues. The other ones take it as gold, which refines them to lift them up ever higher with God. They're born to a living hope. And hope is not like, man, I hope something good happens today. Hope is a confident expectation. Hope is actually living in the light of eternity that's shining on us. And we are looking at that light, and that light draws us on. Our faith is more precious than gold tested by fire. And the love of God, who is invisible to our eyes, yet more real to us than anything else in this world, bring a joy inexpressible and full of glory. It comes from another realm. Now, funk is in the very air that we breathe. All around us in our culture, it's all funky. It is a cloud that hangs over us all. And if we are not careful, it will cast its spell upon us. I think of the Lord of the Rings. Remember King Theoden? If you have seen the movies or read the book, Grima Wormtongue is someone that wormed his way into his life, and he kept on speaking funk into his ear until his eyes glassed over. His hair became really long. Sounds like a rock star, huh? And what? He was immobilized. Just immobilized. And it took Gandalf the wizard to come in and do an exorcism. And all of a sudden his eyes opened up. And all of a sudden he got color to his flesh. And he stood up and he became the king that he was, and he asked for his sword. Yes. What is God telling us today? Where are you now? Honestly. You singing the blues?